Every man at some point dreams of greatness. It's gotten late, I'll see you out. I hope you find it. That thing that makes you whole.
I love this scene. It appears in the 19th episode of 25 from the 1997 anime series Berserk, and helps to explore a key theme of the show's narrative: purpose. While rewatching the anime, I was captivated, triggered, and inspired once more. Now there's multiple reasons why that is. Adapted from Kentaro Miura's manga of the same name, the show has meaningful character arcs that hit like pressure points. Under the direction of Naohito Takahashi, the world is fully realized, with captivating and confronting imagery. Or perhaps it was the masterfully constructed soundtrack by Susumu Hirasawa. Whatever the reason, this time I couldn't help but dwell on how the show, through dialogue, imagery, and sound, depicts characters who are lost, lacking purpose, or perhaps not quite whole. The best example of a character who struggles with these themes is Guts. This guy. The formidable warrior with a tragic backstory. He mostly fights, stares, and wanders his way through the series. However, the most interesting and endearing trait about Guts, for me anyway, is how he struggles to find purpose in his existence. Guts' perspective of the world can be broken into parts. Childhood, where freedom was governed by his violent father figure, Gambino. Adolescence, where he roamed the land as a mercenary, struggling to let anyone in, and eventually joining a new mercenary group called the Band of the Hawk, led by Griffith, a driven, charismatic, and unwavering character. Adulthood, where he establishes a position in the Hawks, over time becoming a unit commander, and post-Band of the Hawk, which sees him dig deep into introspection, trying to work out what will and won't make him happy. Through this timeline, Guts is constantly going with the flow or taking part in battle for the sake of fighting. However, the point where he truly begins to take ownership of his lack of purpose is when he decides to leave the Hawks. This admission takes place in the bar scene mentioned earlier. Two of Guts' comrades, Caucus and Judo, each share their thoughts on the unit commander's reasons for leaving the band, as well as his aspirations to become equal to their leader Griffith. This is especially strange as the group have just achieved a monumental goal of knighthood, presented by the king, allowing the troop to move from simple mercenaries into nobility. The first to react in this scene is Caucus, who is angered by Guts leaving, as well as the warrior's dreams of becoming an equal to Griffith. One of the reasons why he is so agitated is because Caucus has tried and failed to achieve his goal of leading in the past.
Sad thing is, he was a leader once. Led a group of bandits a long time ago.
His own dreams have fallen short, and he has already wrestled with reimagining his purpose to something more achievable. I always like to think that when people give advice, they're simply speaking to themselves.
Griffith is exceptional and you are beneath him.
This reaction shows how Caucus would rather judge Guts than admit he's too scared to do what the unit commander is willing to. For if Caucus believed in the warrior's dreams of self-mastery, Caucus himself would have to admit that he gave up on his own dreams. Judo, on the other hand, is very self-aware.
What would you say to going out with Casca? Huh?
And realizes he can't change Guts. The mercenary's feelings are his own, and for Judo to make him stay would mean he is responsible for Guts' growing discontent. Judo instead explains his own personal outlook on life.
Of course, I would never be a master of anything. So I made a decision. If I could never be the best, then I would find the man who could and serve at his side.
Judo's content in serving Griffith could be seen as him giving up on his own dreams and not believing in himself. However, I believe Judo simply understands his station in the Hawks, and through that clarity of his role, can find purpose in serving someone. The two perspectives Caucus and Judo take are an insight into their own evaluation of meaning. The similarity both these band members share is that they have become content with their choices, regardless of why they chose them. However, this same feeling of content is why Guts needs to leave. Through his time working under Griffith, Guts' skills have advanced tenfold. He's a better fighter, friend, and leader. However, he still can't shake off the feeling that he needs to forge something for himself.
The position an ass like you does not deserve.
I don't want what another man can give me.
For Guts, following in someone's footsteps or trying to fulfill another man's dream completely goes against what he sees as his own fulfillment. And although Guts has been instrumental in Griffith's purpose thus far, these accomplishments are short-lived, constantly squashed by his growing distaste and judgment of himself. If we look over Guts' previous encounters with Griffith, We could argue that he's being unrealistic to think he can achieve a station equal to someone who has been his superior in every way. However, there is something truly valuable about having an achievement no one else can give you. Furthermore, when Guts speaks on his desires to match Griffith, I don't believe he's speaking about being able to beat him in a fight or become the leader of a kingdom like Griffith aspires to be. I believe he simply admires his ability to have found his purpose and simply wants to find that in himself. The feeling that he lacks purpose is further expressed in an earlier scene when he speaks to Casca, another unit commander of the Hawks.
But to tell you the truth, there was something I just couldn't get out of my head. Compared to what you're trying to do, me fighting 100 men means nothing. It has no purpose.
He continues to list the different members of the group and speaks about their aspirations.
Looking over them all from up here, I almost think I can see their hopes and dreams flickering in each little light. And to ensure that those weaker flames don't go out, each man casts his own into the strongest fire of them all. That is Griffith.
Though Guts' fire isn't to be seen amongst the camp. One of the major character flaws, and perhaps why Guts struggles to find purpose in the group, is that he is unable to see what a light he casts for the Band of the Hawk. There have been many situations where he has been deemed hero of the day or celebrated amongst the team, and perhaps if he took a step back to realize the effect he had on others, his purpose wouldn't seem so confusing to him. Though often we as people find it difficult to realize how much we mean to others, especially when we feel vulnerable or meaningless in our own lives. Guts' feelings of displacement is echoed by a previous scene where he hears Griffith speak about dreams while in the company of Charlotte.
Men live and die by their dreams, but long after they've been abandoned, they still smolder deep in men's hearts. Some see nothing more than life and death. They are dead, for they have no dreams.
This is a reflection on Griffith's own high standings on purpose, believing a true friend is one who would create and chase his own personal goals. We can see the hurt in Guts' eyes hearing this, knowing he himself is a man who sees only life and death. Back in the bar scene, while reflecting on why the choice to leave the Hawks is important to him, Guts makes an interesting comment on the mentors in his life.
There was no one there to lead me. But then, I learned what I needed to grow stronger. I became my own master.
Noting how meeting Griffith challenged him and made him stronger, and although he's grateful for that, he now wants to use this new strength to work on himself and eventually return to meet Griffith as an equal. This concept of becoming stronger than his mentors is a long-serving one. Previously, while Guts was under the guidance of Gambino, he was completely dependent on him. Eventually, when he was forced to leave the mercenary group, he began to callous himself as to become self-sufficient and survive. In turn, Guts' reaction to leaving his new mentor Griffith is similar in nature, though the key difference is that he now gets to choose if he will stay or go. In times when Guts was less secure or understanding of his needs, he was more impressionable and wanted to be validated by those he looked up to. So now that he's finally developed enough to understand his worth, it makes sense why he believes that going his own way will help him the most. So why is autonomy important when seeking purpose? Well, in Guts' case, it appears he needs the time alone to work on himself. Being in solitude will not only force him out of his comfort zone, but also empower him to really begin questioning what he wants without the influence of others. Evidence from the bonfire scene and his reaction to Griffith's admission on Friends undeniably spurred this on through the series. But truthfully, as we have watched Guts grow and become more secure in his skills, while becoming less secure about his purpose, it seems inevitable for him to go his separate ways. A pivotal point where growth meets resistance is Guts' second and final fight with Griffith. While we continue breaking this down, if you're enjoying the content, I'd love for you to be a part of our community. So feel free to hit subscribe and let's jump back in. Shortly after the bar scene, Guts sets off. However, members from the Hawks await with teary eyes and confusion after learning their commander is leaving.
Please explain it to me so I can understand. The Band of the Hawk has been like a family to you, and now that we're doing so well, you're just gonna leave us?
Rickett, leave him be.
Why?
It's a man's decision. Don't make it any harder on him.
Guts thanks his friends, then continues on his way.
I told you long ago that you belong to me, Guts.
I like how Guts casually tries to break the ice with this placid line.
Would you settle for a smile? in a fond farewell?
Of course, we can tell from Griffith's expression that he means to fight. This scene is so beautifully articulated by Takahashi. The way the light folds over the hills, signifying the chance of a new day. The confusion in Casca as she questions why she wants Guts to stay. Judo's commentary on the Hawk's right to intervene, and how each opponent mentally takes the other apart until finally the tension is unbearable. Complete direct force. Griffith's sword cracks like the chains of a slave, and he's left defeated. Guts seems so strong here. It's motivating. He takes nothing personally, and even after a potentially fatal duel, his dialogue is supportive of Griffith's growth.
You're going to be all right. You just stumbled over a stone in the road. It means nothing. Your goal lies far beyond this. You'll walk again, soon.
It's as if Guts is reciting a mantra he has said to himself many times in the past. Everything is about moving forward and building. The final portion of Guts' self-discovery arc is shown in the next episode of the series. It takes place 1 year after the previous fight with Griffith. Guts seems carefree, though is described as
A man who doesn't even know where he's going.
by Godo, his new companion. The swordsman shares a house with the blacksmith and his daughter Erika, and though it is cathartic for fans to see Guts happier in his new life, he still dwells on his purpose and dreams. During this episode, we see Guts ponder over his sword
Does this sword? It has always been at my side. My sword was with me.
a lot, describing it as something that defines him, which it most definitely has through the series. As we look over varying episodes, Guts has often associated his identity with his sword. He is the 100-man slayer, the boy with a sword, the berserker. So what is he without it? To help him with this existential question, he reaches out to Godo.
Godo, how did you decide to become a blacksmith?
The companion begins by explaining that his profession is a family trade. When Guts asks if he enjoys the work, Godo responds with,
I don't know.
This in turn catches Guts off guard. However, Godo begins to explain why.
I've been gripping this thing since before I could even walk. I didn't choose this. This is who I am. I just strike it. I don't think. I spent my youth desperate to forge a better sword, become a more skilled smith. Before I knew it, I was old. I don't even know what the hell I strike the iron for.
Guts once more is surprised by Godo's answer. The thought that this old master blacksmith has lost himself in his own passion. This convoluted response can be compared to Erika's response to the same question.
Erika likes it because it's fun. I want to be a blacksmith too.
Exploring the innocent passion and enjoyment of a skill which begins in youth and how it can become detached or more complex in the later years of life. Upon taking the question further, Godo speaks on the crux of why he does what he does.
But there is still one thing I like about it. The sparks. I like seeing sparks. Breathtaking. Life. Bursting before my eyes for just a moment. My life.
There's a simplicity to this admission, which I find very relatable. When a skill you practiced and perhaps is even what you become known for becomes something you only enjoy in remnants, it is hard to explain why you do it. However, if you look deeper into the skill, you remember parts of why you first picked up that hammer, sword, dagger, or troop. And maybe that's a simple enough purpose, to do what you enjoy or once enjoyed, and see the sparks of your former glory in it. Guts seems humbled by this response.
Sparks. The light born in the clash when two swords meet. They serve me as well. Throughout my life, the moments and people that have defined me, they have all been illuminated by sparks.
Although he does admit to not knowing his dream or purpose still, he vows to wield his sword for himself, journeying forward with sparks to light his path. What is important to note in this episode is that it establishes that even an accomplished person can lack purpose, even if they're surrounded by people who love them and admire them. Godo is a testament to this. However, one statement which he leaves Guts with rings wholeheartedly.
Oi! Don't waste your life.
It's hard to understand how not to waste your life, especially when purpose isn't understood. However, and here is my 2 cents, maybe 4 cents at this point, purpose doesn't equal happiness. Purpose is invented by the beholder. Not only this, but it's changeable and should move throughout our lives. Say for instance that Guts' purpose was once more to fight a fearsome foe. Once that purpose is fulfilled, he would yet again have to figure out another reason to continue. Take Griffith's purpose. Once he is the leader of a kingdom, he too would have to find another reason to fight on. The best we can do, it seems, is to simply enjoy the journey and make sure to create meaningful moments that in turn give purpose to us existing. This ideology gains a little more light once Guts returns to the Hawks in the final few episodes of the series. Here, as the men all express their undying gratitude and belief in him, he says this:
Perhaps this is what I was looking for my whole life. I didn't realize it until this very moment. But everything I wanted back then is right here before me now. Why don't I ever realize what I have until it's lost to me?
So in Guts' own experience, while reflecting on his past, he began to believe that what he wanted, perhaps a place to call home, friends to rely on, and the chance to test and improve his skills, perhaps all of this he already had, and as he saw it in front of him, it could be enough to subside for some grand purpose. To conclude, I hope none of you feel like you've wasted your life. Instead, follow your skills or sparks to light your path, and perhaps you will find what you are looking for your whole life. But if not, I hope the process is what makes you whole, and just as Guts attempted, leave it at that, before it's all too late. If you've enjoyed this analysis, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. You can help the channel thrive by liking, commenting, sharing, becoming a member for exclusive perks, or even dropping a super to stand out in the chat. Every bit helps keep this community growing. See you there.